Hey Fit Travel Tribe, this is Mike. In today's episode, we share the mic with Elina from Sweden. Elina is an absolute angel, another health, wellness, and travel guru. She's got an amazing following on Instagram and on her online platform, and we're excited to share this episode with you about her take on traveling and staying well.
If you listen to and love the podcast, we would love for you to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating as it helps our podcast reach more people. You can also share this episode with a friend or family member if you feel that they would benefit from the message. We also have more information and the tools that we use to stay fit and healthy on the go at our website, 2fittravelers.com/resources. Be sure to check it out and pick up our free comprehensive travel guide while you're there.
Welcome, Fit Traveler. Thanks for listening in today as we dive into another fun topic where Marissa and Mike aim to deliver life-giving insights and encourage you to live a healthier, more adventurous lifestyle. Let's get into the show.
There we go. All right. Elina, welcome to the show.
Hello, we're so excited to see you.
Yeah, so guys, Elina from Sweden is joining us. Today she's in the U.S., but we definitely want to dive in and learn a little bit about your background. So could you describe to us a little bit about your background, to us and our audience, just to help us learn a little bit more about Elina from Sweden?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, so excited to be here. My name is Elina and I run the Instagram account ElinafromSweden and also the blog ElinafromSweden. I'm from Sweden, obviously. I have lived in the US for 9 years. I'm based in DC.
What brought you to the US?
What's that?
What brought you to the US?
Oh, so I actually came here for a job. I started as an intern at a company here in DC, and then I've kind of just stuck around.
That's awesome. And so are you still working full-time, or is your platform what you do full-time now?
No, I still work full-time, and then my platform is kind of my side hustle, if you will.
Yeah. Do you have hopes of turning it into a full-time?
One day, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Same. We're side hustles all about it. It's been fun for sure.
So tell us a little bit about that, because how we connected was, of course, we found you on Instagram, and we were super fascinated by the content that you were putting out. A lot of healthy travel tips, different exercises you can do to help improve your posture and the strength and endurance of your hips. Some healthy nutrition tips, all stuff that we love. We eat up. So how did you get into producing content about that? And when did you get into producing content like that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. I've actually been blogging on and off for since almost 15 years, I think. It's been a really long time. But I took a bit of a hiatus in the middle. And I started up seriously again about 2 years ago with Elina from Sweden and kind of this big focus on health and fitness. And it kind of came out of, so I've had some back issues and I've had to go therapy and really focused on getting stronger. And so that kind of just brought me into this idea of sharing health and fitness tips, and in particular, low impact things and things you can do while you're on the road. And just sharing that with my audience and helping them stay healthy and fit. And even if they have any physical limitations, like an injury or something like that, I'm really focused on, using a lot of bands, using a lot of body weight stuff, and very physical therapy oriented.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Excellent. So your background in fitness, because this is something that we get a lot of questions about. I'm a little bit unique with our audience because this is my field of expertise. I spent time in the fitness industry and got an education in exercise science and stuff like that. But most of our audience is not. They have similar to you, they have other professions, other jobs. And so they don't want to think about this stuff that much. So did you come from an exercise background? Were you an athlete when you were younger? Or did you just kind of pick this stuff up along the way?
So also an interesting thing. So I used to hate working out when I was younger. So I didn't get into fitness until I was 21. Like growing up, I was the girl who skipped gym class with a fake note from my mom and all that stuff. I hated it. I didn't move at all. I just wanted to lay on the couch and eat candy and whatever. Very, very unhealthy. I've always been fairly thin. So I was kind of skinny fat and just very unhealthy, even though I might not have looked it. And so when I turned 21, I actually started going to the gym because I had a big vacation coming up that I wanted to get in shape for. And so that's kind of how I got completely, hooked on it after I started going to the gym. And then 4 years ago, I competed in bikini fitness.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then now I'm a health and fitness coach. So it's been kind of a journey over my lifetime, I suppose. But yeah, I did not used to grow up in any kind of, I didn't do any sports or anything. Again, I was the girl who laid on the couch, ate candy, skipped gym class whenever I could. So yeah, but now I'm completely 110% in it.
Wait, so that's not normal? Like sitting on the couch eating candy?
Well, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anyway. Yeah,
absolutely.
So quick question, as far as, obviously the physical benefits of fitness are, off the wall. You get all the good looks and everything from fitness, but tell us about how fitness has kind of shaped your mindset and, kind of caused you to become a little bit more aware of how things affect your body and just, conscious thought, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, right? Like the mind piece of it is almost bigger than the physical. And of course, it's great to, feel good and you feel strong and you look good. But feeling, at peace in your mind is really, it's just amazing. And I notice if I don't work out for a few days, if I'm sick or whatever, it really messes with me and I just get really anxious. I have a hard time focusing and it's just not a good thing. So I work out just as much for my mental wellness as I do for my physical.
So would you mind elaborating a little bit then? You talked about when you were going on that vacation, that's what really spurred you into like your fitness journey. So after that vacation, was it like you were just kind of addicted, or it was like an overwhelming joy or feeling that you felt that kept you going? Or was it a struggle when you returned from that vacation to kind of keep going? Was it a physical thing where you're like, man, I really love how I look? Or was it a mental thing where you're like, man, I need more of this energy. I've never felt like this on vacation.
I think it started out mainly as physical. What really helped me keep it going was that I was working out with a few of my friends. And so that really kind of kept me accountable, right? Because sometimes it can be really hard if you do it all on your own. But I had a few friends and we kind of worked out together. And then that, you have to get past, what is it they say, 21 days to build a new habit or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think once you've worked out for 21 days or longer, or like 8 weeks, or, once you hit that 8 to 12 weeks, it becomes kind of a lifestyle. And then you get addicted to it. And if you stop, you just don't feel right. Mm-hmm. So, but the mental piece, I think, has come, in recent years, to be honest, where I'm noticing, like, it started out as a physical thing where I just wanted to look better. But now it's also all about how I feel. And I have this back issue still, and it's an autoimmune issue that I struggle with. And so working out is really the only thing that helps me. And I'm addicted to it, but it's also, both for my mental wellness, but also my physical, and also for my issue that I do have. Working out is like the one thing that really helps.
Awesome.
So you've kind of made your fitness obviously a lifestyle. So how do you take it with you when you go? Because obviously looking at your platform and hearing about your lifestyle, it seems like you're, kind of on the go a lot. And how do you bring it with you no matter where you are in the world?
Yeah, so great question. One that I get a lot. So I am a big fan of, like I mentioned again, physical therapy style workouts. I use a lot of bands. When I'm at home, I always work out from home, but I have weights and stuff here, which I obviously don't always have access to when I travel. But so the bands come in really handy. And I do a lot of stuff with, it's very simple, right? But it's effective. And you can do, like, in a hotel room, you can do lunges, you can do push-ups, you can do all these things without weights. But you can also add a band to make it a little bit tougher. And the bands don't weigh anything, obviously, and they're so easy to pack. And it's that would be my main thing. And then also having, I have an app that I use, which kind of gives me the programs and all the exercises I need to do. But if you don't have access to that, also just writing out beforehand, like a program that you want to do, helps you also keep more structured, because I find that if you don't have a plan when you start working out, it's easy to just kind of, you start doing something and then, let me do 3 reps of 10 of this. And then you do 2 reps of 10 and you're like, you know what, that's fine, I did enough. And then it's very hard to kind of get derailed, right? So it's important to have a plan, either have an app or have a program written out for you.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing what apps you're a huge fan of, like the one that you use? And
yes, so I use the Beachbody app.
Yep.
So I have a couple of programs on there that I really, really like for traveling, especially. There's one that has like 30-minute workouts that you do with just a band, which is just amazing. So I prop up my phone and I just do it in a hotel room. You just need I usually use like one of the towels from the bathroom, and I just do all my exercises there, so I don't have to lay on the hotel room floor.
On the hotel floor. Yes, we've done that before.
Should we talk about hygiene?
Yeah.
It's number 1 tip.
Yes.
Cover the floor.
Don't lay on the floor.
Good deal.
Yes.
So I do want to dive back in. I like the kind of psychology aspect of things. So you went from age 21, like it clicked, I want to look good and do this on vacation. Of course, you had a sphere of influence, which always helps. So one of the things we love recommending to people that come to us solo and they're like, how do I get started? Like, go join a class, find a friend, somebody that can help you be accountable, to help you have a higher chance of succeeding at your goal. But how did you transition from it being a you thing and how it changed you to wanting to put out content to other people, wanting to help other people? Because you help a lot of people and you put out a lot of really great content. I can only imagine that comes from a sincere place.
Yeah, I just want to share it with the world, because I really think that it's made such a huge difference in my life. And I see all these women who are just struggling, and they are unhappy with the way they feel and the way they look, and they are stressed and they have anxiety. And I just feel like I have the solution. Like, I know that you're struggling. I know how it is to work 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. I know how it is to, feel weak or feel unhappy with yourself or overeat. And I used to have an issue with binge eating. And, I've been through all that. And it's I don't know. I just feel like it's such an easy thing to do, to change your life, but it's that piece of getting started that can be really hard and really intimidating. And I just want to show women that it doesn't have to be hard, and it can be simple workouts. You don't have to go to the gym and lift 50-pound weights and stand there with all the bros that are like looking at you. And I know that's uncomfortable, right? Like, you can do this from home. You can do this without putting crazy strain on your body. If you can't jump due to injuries or whatever, you don't have to. There's a nice and sustainable and simple way to take care of yourself and really just improve your life in every single aspect. Like, it's such a blessing. And I just want to share that with the world. That's because great. I love it so much.
Yeah, you can really feel your passion when you talk about it. I was like, yeah, I wanted to be like, yeah, that's it. So I get that a lot from you, the passion that you have. And I think that what you're doing is really, really good, because I agree with you. It's really hard to get into that space, especially when you're at a place where you're not as physically appealing as you'd like to be. You're already in your head about it. You're already, like, oh, I look, you're self-deprecating, and it just is a cycle. And so getting out of that is definitely challenging. So I think you're doing a great job helping people get out of that for sure. And so that's kind of how we started our platform, as well as we really liked the impact that working out has on every aspect of your life. And then we really noticed that it helped us when we were traveling to maintain that feeling of energy and that feeling of desire to go out and do things versus like, waking up every day hungover on the beach and not wanting to get up and do anything. So how did you start to, when you traveled, did you always plan it into your vacations, or is it something that's kind of, because it's a part of your life now, you have, made time for that when you travel, or, just kind of talk about that process.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's such a huge part of my life that I just do it almost every day without really thinking about it, right? Because that's where I am in my journey. I do travel a lot for work, and then I'm just super rigorous with it, and I just stick to it, right? Because I'm there for work anyway. So I just get up early and I do 30 minutes in my hotel room and I go on with my day. But then, of course, when I'm on vacation with my husband, we also try to stick to the routine as much as we can. On vacation, we tend to be a little bit more flexible, right? Because you don't want to keep it too rigid, but because both of us we are very active. And so we tend to keep that up on vacation as well. And not to the same extent, of course. We don't spend an hour in the gym, but we get up, we go to the gym, maybe 20, 30 minutes, really quickly, just get a little bit of blood flow going. And then we get on with our day and we hit the beach or we hit the town or whatever we're doing that day. And we don't do it maybe every day. If it's a 10-day vacation, we may do it, 5 or 6 days, but we try to at least keep it up somewhat, just because it just makes us feel better, right? And you tend to eat more food and drink a little bit. And so if you get up first, then even just 30 minutes makes you feel better about all that later in the day.
100%.
Absolutely. So we really love the principle focused type of exercise and activity, even nutritional principles when we're on the road. So a lot of people get discouraged when they're on vacation and they don't keep up with their regimen. And in most cases, I would argue that's probably not practical to keep the same exact routine unless you have all of the, you planned ahead, you have all of the same components that you have in your, current environment or ecosystem. So I did sense some themes. I heard some themes as you were talking. It seems like there's a 30-minute theme. So you guys try to do at least 30 minutes, at least half the time that you're there. And it's typically in the morning. Would you agree to that? Would you add anything to those types of principles that you guys try to stick to when you're on a trip?
Well, I think I don't not really add anything, but I think with the 30 minutes, it's just keeping it, even 20 minutes. Again, doing a whole hour on vacation is a little bit, you also need to get out there and enjoy your vacation, right? You don't want to spend the whole day in the gym or the hotel room. And then also doing it in the morning is usually a good thing, because then you have it over with and you can go enjoy, right? Working out in the afternoons is typically not something I like anyway, but especially on vacation, because if you're on the beach and you have a glass of wine for lunch or a drink or whatever, and then you kind of lose your motivation to work out, right?
Yes.
Like it's better to just do it first thing in the morning and then get it over with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you mentioned traveling with your husband. Does that change your routine at all? As far as if you're traveling solo, do you guys kind of you find that both of you want to work out? Does one usually motivate the other, or is it kind of just like both of you are in a fitness routine and it's just natural to work out together when you travel?
Yeah, it's natural, but I would say that if he's not with me, I tend to work out more. So he's more, because he's also, he works out probably 7 days a week, and he goes to the gym and he lifts heavy weights, and he's, more of that bodybuilding type. So for him on vacation, he doesn't really mind not working out so much. Yeah. But I would like to keep it up because, I'm a girl and I want to feel good. And, it's just, it's really important to me. So I would say I'm probably more of the driving force behind it. Yeah.
I feel like ours is opposite. Yeah. I feel like you would drive me there. I'm pretty on vacation. I'm like, let's just lay.
I don't take credit for it, but yeah, something a long time ago. It could be my military experience. It could be just the way that I'm wired. But to me, it's like a staple. And if I'm not working out, it's because I need recovery. And oftentimes, I'm sure there are a lot of people wired like that. So when we're on the go, when we're traveling, a lot of times Marissa, she has done, probably at least 60, if not 75% of the planning for the trip. And so she wants to go explore, and she's probably up like an hour before I am, just scrolling stuff on her phone. Like, hey, we can do this, and this.
I get excited.
I roll over and all of a sudden she's like, hey, so I found this thing we can do, this thing we can do, this we can do. And I was like, I can't process, still waking up. But yeah, as far as the exercise, we 100% agree with you. It's a mental thing. It's a physical thing. Probably go so far as to say it's like a spiritual thing. It's, I want to make sure that I'm in the right mindset to give to one of our recent guests. His name's Javier. He said it in such a great way. He said, I do he does yoga. I do my exercise for other people's benefit. He said, I want to be the best person I can be for other people. And so that's why I do it. So I relate to that a lot, that it's just a staple. It's just something I do so that I'm the best that I can be.
Yeah. Yeah. So along the lines of healthy fitness while you're traveling, talk to us about how you guys eat while you're traveling. Obviously, when we are traveling, we do indulge and try things and things like that. So, obviously there is a little leeway of what we eat and do. And so I'm sure that you guys also indulge a little bit. And
nutrition is a hot topic.
Yeah. So we'd really like to hear about what kind of principles you stick to and your diet in general when you're home versus when you're traveling.
Could you maybe start with just sharing like what's your general nutrition philosophy? Because we find a ton of similarities, some minor differences. So it'd be great to hear from you about, how you got to this point and where your nutritional philosophy lies.
Yeah, sure. So when I'm home, I tend to be very balanced, right? So I have a history of extreme restriction and then binging back from my competing days, which was extremely unhealthy, right? It's just mentally, it's not a good situation to be in. So I have to be very careful not to restrict myself because I get into a really bad place with that mindset. So I tend to be super flexible with myself. But in doing so, I find that I actually want to eat healthier, right? So I try to focus a lot on how food makes me feel. And I want to eat foods that make me feel good. And so by doing that and by not restricting myself, I basically tell myself, if I want to have cake today, I can have cake today, which means I don't want the cake because it doesn't make me feel good. Mm-hmm. So I tend to just eat a lot of lean proteins or, like chicken, shrimp, salmon, lean ground beef, things like that. And then a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit, nuts, nut butters, things like that. And again, if I want a piece of chocolate, I'll have a piece of chocolate. But again, my mindset right now is also because I have this autoimmune thing that I'm dealing with, that I'm trying to eat anti-inflammatory, and I'm really trying to focus on how the food makes me feel. And I want to feel good. And so that automatically makes me eat more vegetables and more fruits because yes, I can have the cake. I'm allowed to have the cake. But when I eat the cake, I feel nauseous. My stomach isn't right. And it's just, I don't want the cake. I can have it, but I don't want it, which for me is really, really important. When I competed, I used to weigh my food. I had a little food scale. It was like 4 ounces of this and 3 ounces of this and like half a cup of this. And it messed with me so much that once a week I would just go rogue. I would eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's. I would eat 3 cookies. I would eat a pizza. And it was just so unhealthy, right? That whole binge eating and then restriction and then binging and restricting. So yeah, the balance right now is really, I try to stay away from any kind of diet. Because again, my mindset, I get too obsessed with it. And so it's important for me to just be low key with my food choices. But again, just focus on how the food makes me feel, is really my motto these days.
So one quick question on that front, and thank you for sharing because that was awesome. Mm-hmm. How do you keep the balance between allowing yourself to maybe indulge a little bit more on those things that you shouldn't have, and maintaining balance? So how do you find if there is a balance between the actual balance and maintaining a healthy flow, not extreme, not to one extreme, but then also allow yourself to give in a little bit to those, like sweets and things like that?
Well, so I have a couple of things that I typically do. So for me, eating like chocolate is my vice, right? I love chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to eat darker chocolate, so like 70% plus cocoa contents, which also is quite, you have one piece and you don't really want anymore because it's so strong and it's very satisfying with just one little piece. Another thing is I make these chocolate protein almond butter balls that I eat, and I eat them every day. So, and that kind of satisfies my sweet tooth. It's my little treat every day, but it's kind of a healthier treat, and it makes me feel good. It's basically just protein powder. It's a bit of honey, almond butter, cinnamon, maybe a dash of almond milk. And sometimes I add some pumpkin spice, and I basically just mix it together. And you can make it into balls. I typically just eat it out of a Tupperware. Very unglamorous, but it's really, really good. And I need that sweetness in the evening, but I found a way to make it healthy. And then, you can argue, okay, is it healthy to eat honey every day? It's technically sugar, but there is where I'm like, okay, I need this, and I'm not going to deprive myself of this. If honey is my it's natural, and I'm gonna have that, and it makes me feel good. My stomach doesn't get messed up. I don't get nauseous from it, and so that's kind of how I've found that balance. So I get my sweetness, I get my treat, but it is kind of on the healthier side.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So healthy alternatives. Yeah. Super awesome tip.
Yeah. What about eating out at restaurants? So obviously when you're traveling, most of the time you're going to be in a position where you don't have access to a lot of food. So what are your tips for choosing healthy foods while you're eating out?
Yes. So usually there's always healthy options available if you're a bit creative, right? So for example, when I'm at airports, I try to find like a Starbucks or some sort of coffee shop, and I order oatmeal. Another thing is always carry unsalted almonds or walnuts or something in your bag. And because if you snack on something healthier, and then you don't allow yourself to get like super hungry, and then you're less likely to make those unhealthy choices. And again, even at airports, I know that can be super challenging, but they always have like nuts, or they always have oatmeal typically somewhere that you can find. And then as far as restaurants, again, just order, I tend to order protein, salmon, chicken, beef, whatever, and then a side of vegetables. I tend to stay away from the potatoes, from the, pastas and all that kind of stuff, again, because it doesn't make me feel good. It's not that I can't have it. It messes me up, and it doesn't make me feel good. Mm-hmm. Another thing that my husband and I always do when we travel and we want to indulge on vacation is that we try to keep our breakfast and lunch healthy, and then we can kind of indulge for dinner. So it's not like 100% all out, like pigging out every single meal, but we keep, for breakfast, we eat eggs and vegetables and oatmeal or whatever. For lunch, I typically have a salad. And then for dinner, then we go for the desserts. Then I go for the French fries. Then I go for whatever I want. Mm-hmm. So just having, again, balance, right? I eat 2 healthy meals, and then I splurge, and I have alcohol. And so I don't deprive myself, but I also don't need the waffles and the pancakes and all that stuff for breakfast, right? Because I have that for dinner with my dessert and everything.
So speaking of, we don't talk about this a lot, but as far as alcohol consumption, I think it's inevitable for a lot of people. So what are your thoughts about alcohol consumption as it relates to like staying healthy? Because there are a lot of things that happen when you consume alcohol, especially past a certain point. So how do you keep yourself in a,
regulated, but also
yeah,
enjoying stage?
I guess I'm implying that, there's some regulation, we're not just out, partying and stuff like that. If we want to stay healthy, if that's your thing, and maybe once in a while you want to do it, you're in a social environment, all power to you. But if we're trying to stay on par with, staying healthy and moving toward our goals, it's probably going to be limited. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So personally, I don't drink a lot of alcohol. It's only at very special occasions. Again, it doesn't make me feel good, right? Like I don't know if it's just if I'm allergic or something, I get really hungover even if I only have 2 glasses of wine. Like it doesn't sit well with me for some reason. Yeah. But of course, on vacation, I tend to enjoy it. It's kind of part of it. One tip is to stick to the non-sugary, kind of lower calorie options if you do want to drink. Keep it, as don't do it very often. Try to keep it, to a limited amount of times during a month. But stick to like white wine, red wine. If you want something stronger, a vodka soda is a good option. Also has water in it, which is good. And the vodka is clear and tends to not have a lot of calories. On vacation, I do have the occasional pina colada because I just love the sweetness of it. But again, I kind of, try to just balance it a little bit, right? But my top tip for if you like to drink on the weekends, limit it to 2 drinks max. Try to not eat while you drink, because that's a big trap where you just get you overeat, then you tend to eat pizza and fries and all that kind of stuff. And then also avoid the sugary drinks.
Yeah.
This would be my tips.
Yeah, we appreciate that, because we've talked to a lot of folks that have, similar perspectives. So there's an element of restriction. So just be conscious of the fact that, you're not going to just consume until you're done, because alcohol has that effect where it kind of turns off those switches in your brain where you you have judgment about those things. So before you get to that point, have some restriction in mind. But also, I really love what you say about recognizing how you feel. So that's probably the reason that Marissa and I kind of stopped drinking, because we would wake up super early in the morning, and even after like a glass of wine, we just feel wrecked. And, our first 20 or 30 minutes in the gym was just kind of like recovering from that. And then finally, we have like a small window to work out anyway. Finally, we have like 15 minutes to work out. And then all it was just recovering from, dinner the night before. So there was no moving toward our goals. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So kind of moving forward here with a different topic. So you said that you guys are married and you guys travel together often. And so we have a lot of couples that listen to our show. And so kind of transitioning into that, do you have any advice for how to manage a relationship while traveling, or tips for kind of how you guys decide on what you're going to do together or things like that? Because we get a lot of couples that one person is very different than the other person. One person doesn't like fitness and the other one does. And so how do you guys kind of merge everything that when you travel?
Yeah, so I'm lucky in the sense that we're both into fitness and we're both very active people. And my husband is he's really into fitness and has been his whole life. So I'm lucky in that sense. But then, of course, we're also different, right? So if it was up to me, we would go to the gym every single day. He's not so much at that, but we compromise. And again, on a 10-day vacation, we go 5 to 6 days. Another thing is we try to walk a lot on our vacations. So that's also really good, just exercise. And if you don't work out in the morning, then you still kind of feel good about yourself because you walk 20,000 steps. Yeah. We tend to like different vacations. So I tend to like beach vacations. He tends to like more like cultural, seeing stuff, going to museums and all that kind of stuff. So we try to compromise, and like every other vacation, we get one of us picks, right? So I pick a beach vacation. He picks, going to Sweden and seeing all the old buildings and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we do it. And it's all about compromising, right? You just gotta, my husband is my best friend and we have an amazing marriage. And so it's just, we just want each other to be happy. So it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
So is he from Sweden or is he from the US? Or?
No, he's from the US.
Okay. So he loves experiencing, all of your culture.
Yes, exactly. Which I kind of, I'd rather stay in the US, but we compromise. I want to go to Miami and lay on the beach for a week.
Yeah. What's your favorite place that you guys have traveled or you have traveled?
My favorite place is the Maldives. I went there, I don't know, it's probably 15 years ago now, but it was the most amazing place on earth. It's really, really wonderful. Stayed on this little island. You could literally walk around the whole thing in like 20 minutes, and it's just a hotel, and you stay in a hut on the beach, and they have like a barefoot policy at the restaurant, so like you can't wear shoes anywhere. It's just it's amazing. And then the favorite place we've been, we traveled quite a lot. We went to Switzerland earlier this year, which was really, really cool because we had no expectations, but it was really, really neat. And we went up into the Alps and it was really, really nice. So Switzerland was Yeah, I've underestimated Switzerland.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So two things. First of all, from our limited experience, we found that Europeans tend to travel far more than folks in the U.S. and Americans. Would you agree to that? Have you found that?
Yeah, I think so. It's also though, because, I'm from Sweden. So Sweden is like the surface of California maybe. So like if you travel for a few hours, you automatically are in a different country. Whereas in the US, it's like all of the US is
US.
Europe, right? True. To go from DC, where I live, down to Florida would be the equivalent of going from Sweden to Spain. Like yeah. But yes, we do travel a lot.
Okay. And so one other question, either from your experience or just from your interaction with other people that travel. So Maldives is definitely on our list, but we've also been through Tahiti, and there are other island nations like Fiji, even Hawaii could be kind of up there on the list, although it's much more populated than like a Maldives. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's considering a trip to the Maldives, which from like Houston, Texas, for example, I think is a 32-hour flight, or Tahiti, which was an 8-hour flight. Is there any comparison at all, or are they just wildly different?
I haven't spent that much time here in like the Caribbean or Hawaii, but I've been to Jamaica, and I'm not sure. I mean, the Maldives was really, really special, but I personally now, like I went there like 15 years ago. I went from Sweden, so it was a little bit closer, but it was still 3 different flights, and like it's a hassle to get there.
Yeah.
So these days, I'm much more for like, okay, let's pop to, I don't know, down to Mexico or just Miami or whatever, just something closer. Because I do think, again, if you're just looking for a beach, like 32 hours on a plane, it's up to you, right? But like if you only have 10 days, you spend 32 hours one way. It depends on what you want. So also a huge fan of Thailand, which from Sweden is much easier to get to than from here. So I've wanted to go back to Thailand since I moved here, but I cannot do 24 hours on a plane. I just do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a long trip.
So there's another question that I like to ask is, what's next on your bucket list? Like, what's the place that you're looking to travel to next?
So we really want to go to Fiji and Australia, but again, it's that I just have to brace myself for the actual flight. Like it's so long. But yeah, I would love to. I've always wanted to go to Australia and Fiji and kind of that area. It's just, it's so far.
Yeah.
Can we make a quick recommendation?
Yes.
Okay. So again, disclaimer, limited experience, but we too were like, I personally was terrified of the long distance flight. We went to New Zealand, and is that the Pacific Ocean? Mm-hmm. So the Pacific flight was Air Tahiti on a Dreamliner, like 400 or 500 passengers, amazing flight.
It was very comfortable.
Both trips, amazing trip. I believe at the time they were running a deal taking people through Tahiti to maybe bring awareness to Tahiti or something like that. But they make trips from the West Coast to Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
So
their flight
highly recommend. Yeah, we would, even just with one, round trip flight, we would put our stamp of approval there.
Comfortable.
Super comfortable.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Customer service was through the roof. And even in economy, the seats recline well enough that you can sleep.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's
we're very.
Because sitting up for 24 hours. Whew,
yeah, it was good. We had a good time.
Yeah, and you may also be able to score a stayover in Tahiti, or even
one night.
If you consider a layover being like a short during the day stop, a stayover being like a full night, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So I think Turkish Airlines does the same thing. Actually, they give you like a full 24-hour. They pay for your hotel and everything just to get.
Oh wow.
There.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, kind of, I guess to close up, we're kind of at the end of our interview here. It's been a great talk. We really love getting to know you more. And so, what's next for you? Like, what are you working on? What is your goal with your platform going forward? We really love to send our audience to you guys as well. So tell our audience what you're working on as well next.
Yeah, so working on developing more content, of course, and just kind of learning more about what my audience wants. Super, super excited because we are launching a bar program in December.
Awesome.
And
ARRE, bar?
Yes, exactly. The ballet type inspired workouts. So that's going to be really, really nice because I'm all for the low impact, like things you can do from anywhere. So that launches in December. So I'm really excited about that. And then, just keep working on content and just building my audience and spreading the word. And, my goal is really I want to eliminate obesity, and I want to spread just the gospel of health and fitness and what it actually does for your life, because it has saved me and it's my biggest passion. And I just want everyone to feel this good.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
We feel that. Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you. Elina, is there anything else that you want to share with our Fit Travel tribe? They're all mainly fit couples or folks that travel a lot. They're trying to stay healthy on the go. Are there any remaining tips that you wanted to share before we sign off here?
Well, just if there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way. And again, be creative with your workouts and don't feel like you have to do like an hour of heavy, lifting or running or whatever. Have fun with it too. And just don't take the pressure off a little bit, right? And a 20-minute workout is better than no workout at all. Even a 10-minute workout is better than no workout at all. So just kind of have fun with it, stay creative with it, and just enjoy it, because fitness and being able to work out is really a privilege. Like, it's not everyone is able to do that. And that's something that's really important to remember. And it needs to be joyful, and it needs to be something that you enjoy doing and just taking care of yourself.
Excellent. Well, Elina, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate everything. You were super wonderful. And as soon as your program launches, we'll definitely put that information in the show notes. It should come out shortly after we publish this episode. And we'll be looking to hear from you again in the future.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. Love talking to you.
Thank you, Elina.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
Here at Two Fit Travelers, we have a mission to add value to you. If we've impacted you in any way, please consider sharing this episode with a friend or family member that could use an encouraging word. Your support means the world to us, and we thank you for listening. We'll look forward to speaking with you on the next episode. Stay adventurous and be well.
Hey, Fit Travel Tribe, it's Mike. I wanted to jump back on at the tail end of this episode to let you guys know about a really exciting opportunity for you to join the Fit Travel Tribe, and that is through our upcoming fitness retreat. So if you want more information about our immersive fitness and travel experience, it's going to be an amazing time. We have a ton of stuff planned for you guys. Then join our email list, and if you're on our email list, you're going to be added to our pre-sale list for the event. It doesn't mean that you're registered for it. It just means that you're going to have the first opportunity to learn about our retreat and to sign up if you so wish, likely at a discount. So again, you can join our email list to sign up for that preview information list. We're super excited to share that time with you. And otherwise, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you soon.